Yeah, look, I think people should come and see me talk about in-housing media because a lot of the conversation around in-housing to date has been all around in-housing creative functions. And I suppose the media component of in-housing isn't something that's always talked about or even done by that many companies. So if you're looking for an interesting insight into how Treasury Wine Estates went about doing this, then I'd certainly love you to come along. Yeah, I think in the world we inhabit, we spend so much time in the weeds and creating campaigns and knee deep in data. And I think it's incredibly important that we take time out from the day to day to meet with our colleagues and peers, discover what's happening in the industry, learn from other practitioners, and just generally feel a sense of greater connectedness to the wider programmatic community. Yeah, I think my top three words would be words that could be applicable to all media, I guess. So, transparency, simplicity, and performance, I suppose. And the transparency part is one that's particularly problematic for programmatic and continually requires us to be vigilant and find new ways to be more transparent. I think simplicity is an area that programmatic has really struggled with in the past. And a lot of that comes down to how we talk to ourselves to non-programmatic people. And often it's the non-programmatic people who are paying our bills, and the ability to provide clean, simple information on how we trade and why we trade to the people who aren't experts in this field is more important now than ever. And I think performance, both from a short-term, immediate sales revenue generating point of view, and a long-term brand building impact. How do we show that programmatic as a buying mechanism is achieving the brand objectives that the industry needs us to achieve? So I think those would be my three key takeaways. Look, I think the biggest challenge for programmatic in 2024 is going to be getting our fair slice of the media pie. I think as audience signal continues to deteriorate, as cookies deprecate at the end of this year, I think there's going to be a tendency and perhaps a fear from brands that they'll be pulling money into channels that they deem safer, aka walled gardens. And I think it's incredibly important that the programmatic industry demonstrates its value and how it's responding to these shifting audience signals and data signals to ensure that we're still getting the rightful slice of the pie to ensure that we're helping brands meet their brand objectives. Look, I'm really passionate about talking about in-house media. I think for a long time, agencies have held the keys to the castle, and brands have had to rely on those agencies to provide that transparency and that performance without always having access to the core data. And I think now more than ever, brands are choosing to take control of their own destiny, getting more transparency, more accountability, and faster turnaround. And I think it's an incredibly exciting time for the in-house media world to be and to be a small part of that trend is quite exciting for me. So I think in housing for media, it's a really exciting time, and I'm really excited to talk about it and the benefits as well as some of the drawbacks as well. Well, I think for us, the reason that we decided to bring media in house was, there were three key pillars. We had, the transparency of data, the proximity to our data, and then the speed of campaign creation and access to data as well. So, from transparency, accountability, and speed, I think they're three incredible benefits from in-housing media that you don't always get from outside agencies. I think unlike in-housing creative, media can seem quite scary to many brands. If you're in-housing creative, you're really talking. The conversation tends to kind of rotate around labor costs and maybe some software additions for the designers and creators and the tools they'll be using. I think when you start talking about media, it can be quite easy for the conversation to get quite complex quite early. And a lot of brands, probably because of the many years of them talking to their agency, it seems like quite a complex ecosystem to replicate in an in-house setting. I think when you strip it all back and go with an MVP model to start with, I think it is more than achievable. And I think over time, a lot more brands will realize that it's more than just in-housing your social or maybe some of your retail, that it's quite possible and in fact, in some cases, can be provide a better outcome by in-housing all of your biddable media instead. So, I think that's a bit of an overview. A lot of it's really a fear of what you don't know, and I think also just ensuring that if you are going to step into this space, that you don't need to go from 0 to 100. That the best way to do this is to simply start small, go incremental, set yourself some goals, and then eventually you'll find yourself doing a lot more than you thought you probably could have done when you first started out.